Hi guys, I guess I'm live. I didn't even know I had to push the button. Anyway, I had a couple of you guys ask me to go over again what I'm doing as far as food prepping. And the first thing I want to share with you is a lot of people are asking me why. Well, we have a number of reasons why. One is that in Texas last year there was a snow apocalypse and people were literally without power for 4 or 5 days and they couldn't even get out of the house because it was so cold. And so we don't want to have that scenario again, and we are, we don't want to have a scenario where we have no power, and then, of course, if you have no power, you have nothing to eat if you can't cook. So we have a little camp stove, a propane-powered camp stove. Of course, we have the barbecue too that's propane-powered, so we can cook on those two things. The other thing is too, though, bigger picture-wise, we're seeing a lot, as you guys are seeing, a lot of government overreach, and I've had a lot of conversations this week with friends and family in California who are freaking out because they're making it mandatory for the kids now to get vaccinated. And so we're seeing a lot of government overreach. That really concerns us. We don't know what it's going to come to. And then the other thing is in the financial markets. I do a lot of my own investing. I do my investing in stocks. And so I actually pay for a service to get information on what to invest in. And they give us great information. And of course, what everyone's talking about right now is the stock market is way, way too high, and it will not sustain itself. Eventually, it will come down. Then we also know there's inflation going on, right? I mean, here in Texas, we're almost at $3 a gallon for gas, which is really high for Texas. Texas is usually lower in the nation, so we're seeing gas prices going up. Absolutely groceries. I'm noticing it a lot. I don't know about you guys, but I'm noticing a lot in groceries. Then we have the supply chain problem right now. We have over 70 ships outside of the Port of Angeles in California. We have more on the eastern seaboard. They're not able to get the goods off the boats. And so also in China, they're not allowing them to leave that many leave because they have so much COVID restrictions there. And of course, we get a lot of our stuff from China, right? So there's just so many things that we were feeling like we should be prepared. We don't know what we're preparing. Maybe we don't need it, right? But it wouldn't be better to be prepared and not need it than not be prepared and need it. So whether it be another storm and the power goes out or whatever, we are going to prepare 3 months worth of food. Now you can go out and yes, you can buy the packaged dry food, and we did that when we were full-time RVing because we would boondock a lot. We were out where there was no power or water or anything like that. But we tasted a couple of them and they were not very good. And of course, we're used to eating really good food, so it's really hard, but if you were starving, dehydrated food wouldn't be that bad, right? So what I was doing was I was cruising around YouTube looking for people that are doing this, and I came across this woman who is a Mormon, and of course the Mormons have been doing this for a long time. They're probably the most prepared other than the Amish if a power grid went down. But her way of doing it really impressed me because it made so much sense. Because she said, one day I just looked, she had a family of like 6. She said, one day I looked at everything I had, and it's just a lot of beans and rice and dry goods and everything. There was no rhyme or reason to it. She's like, could I make a meal out of this that my family would actually enjoy? So it made her rethink the way that she stores food. And so I'm going to show you what she showed me, and this is what I'm doing. So the first thing I did was I wanted to have variety. So I want to have only eat the same meal once every 2 weeks. And so I did 14 recipes, and I did them on recipe cards because what happens if there's no power? You can't get your computer and access all that stuff. So good old recipe cards, right? So I have recipe cards with the ingredients on them, and I have 14 recipes. So that means that we will not eat the same meal until 2 weeks later. And then what I did is, of course, I had to pick out recipes that I could make on a camp stove or something like that. If the power's out, we're going to have the barbecue, or we're going to have a propane camp stove, and that's it to cook on. The other thing was, we're so used to fresh fruits and vegetables. So we have a garden, and we don't know what time of year. That might happen in the middle of winter. We might have nothing in the garden, or very little, or you guys that live up in the north, you aren't going to have it. So I did want to have some vegetables. It was going to have to be canned vegetables. Now, here's the thing that was really important was that we are protein eaters. A lot of people will say, well, if you were vegan, you eat beans and rice, you wouldn't need to have all this protein, but we don't do well on that. We've tried that many years ago. Our bodies don't like it. And so we are people who need protein from meat sources. So what was interesting, what this woman said was that it's hard to find canned meat that tastes good. I was thinking, oh yeah, that probably is true, unless it's tuna or chicken or something. So she canned all her own meat. So what I am going to do, and this is what she suggested, is go on eBay and look for a canner, and they're way less expensive on eBay because a nice canner is like 150 bucks. And I'm going to can some meat, and so this allowed me to have more selection in our recipes, and of course I'll can some chicken. And so that is going to be the protein source, other than, yes, we do have some meals with beans. I do like beans, I just can't eat them very often. My guts don't like them. So we are going to have some of that, and we are going to have some powdered eggs, and actually powdered eggs don't taste half bad, which is good. So there's some options there, and I'm going to put a link here when I'm done on for a website that I found that has a lot of cool stuff, like canned butter that lasts for like 5 years. So things like that are really good to have on hand. So what I am going to do then is I'm going to make my meals based around the recipes that I have, and then they will be put in I'm getting some these plastic tubs, or I don't know what you call them, but containers that you can put quite a bit of stuff in. And we have room, like in our master bedroom closet, and we have some room underneath our linen closet in one of the in the spare bathroom. And then what I'll do is label everything. So some things will last 2 years, 3 years, 5 years. Dry food will last a lot longer. And then, of course, the canned meat will only last a year. So what I'll have to do is, once I have this done, is I will have to go a year from now, and I'll have to go through everything and see what we need to eat, and then replace it, what we need to eat, and then look at everything else. As it comes up to be expired, we'll have to eat it. But if it's food that we like, then we can eat it. See, that's the thing. If you're buying all this dry, dehydrated food and you don't even like it, you're not going to want to eat it unless you're in an emergency. So I came up with meals that are meals that we like and that we would eat and that we would feel satisfied with, that we wouldn't be like just choking food down because we don't have any food in the house. So that's how I'm doing it. Now, my daughter, who is much more computer savvy than me, I don't do Excel spreadsheets. So she put this all up on an Excel spreadsheet for me. She broke it down. And so what she did is she took the recipes, and of course, we're going to be eating that one particular recipe twice in a month. So you multiply that times 3 months, that's 6 times. So she took the ingredients and she multiplied them all out by 6, and we got them on a spreadsheet here. So I went to Costco the other day. You can see my scribbling on here. I was pricing out some things, the canned goods, and seeing what they were per price and how many you had to buy. Because some things I'm going to need more of, like chicken broth is a big one, tomatoes, stuff like that. And so I'm pricing out Costco, I'm pricing out the dollar store. Canned goods, and they have brand names a lot of times, are and you look at the expiration on them, and they're just the same as the grocery store. So I'm kind of checking out all these different places where I can get these items. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with probably a month's worth of food, and then see how much that is, how much volume it is, to make sure I have room for 3 months of food. And so that's what I'm going to do first, is go out and get, except for the meats, because I'm going to have to can those myself, and then that's going to be probably a couple weeks down the road before I get a canner and everything. And I've been looking for meat on sale so that I can get it. I found some the other day. Meat is getting very expensive as well. So I found some the other day. It was on sale, so I grabbed that, threw it in the freezer. So I'm just kind of hunting around right now and looking. But this is a way, if you're interested, you could just start off with a couple weeks, right? Maybe just do 7 meals and then repeat those 7 meals, and then store those meals that you would have for 14 days. There's just so many things that could happen. We live in a country where there's tornadoes and there's hurricanes and there's earthquakes and snow, getting snowed in and blizzards and all this stuff. But the supply chain really concerns me most right now because we're starting to see things that are not available. And of course, we've seen this with the chips for the cars and the computers and all this stuff, but we're starting to see it now with food that comes in from other countries. And so, again, growing a garden is great, and we do have winter vegetables going in because we're in Texas and we have pretty mild temperatures. We get to grow garden all winter long, and when it snows, we have a cover for it, a netting that keeps the snow off the plants. But for you guys living in the northeast, you don't have that option. So I just wanted to share with you guys what we're doing. A couple of people asked me to share again how I'm doing the food prepping. And so I wanted to share with you how I'm doing it, and in a way that I think is really practical and makes a lot of sense to me, that we'll be eating food that's healthier, even though it's canned. A lot of it is canned, but I can buy organic, right? I can buy organic tomatoes and things like that. And then if we do have an opportunity to have the garden, available, we can do the fresh fruit and fresh vegetables. I don't have any fruit. Then we will be able to have some fresh stuff in. But at the same time, it feels good. It feels really good just to be prepared and have that in the home in case something happens. So I just encourage you guys to consider it. And with everything that's going on right now, it's just kind of a snowball effect with the financial markets, the shipping, the stock market, the mandatory everything. I mean, we don't want to be stuck, with another toilet paper run, for instance, and be able to have things for your family. So I hope that was helpful for you guys. I'd love to hear if you're doing anything like this, or if it kind of prompts you to think about doing anything like this. I'd love to hear from you. And I will put that link here when I'm done to the website that had like the canned butter and things like that. It was very interesting, unique things I hadn't thought about that would be good to have on hand. All right, you guys have a wonderful weekend. Bye for now.